I think Kopech really did do a nice job of bouncing back after that tough first inning there, getting himself into a groove on a night where he really didn't have his best stuff overall. If you look at it, fastball velocity was down a little bit tonight, looking at about 93, 94, and didn't really have a sharp, tight breaking ball to complement that tonight. He did have the 6 innings here six strikeouts over 5 1/3 innings, but it wasn't that sharp, crisp stuff that we have seen for a majority of the season. It almost looks as though he might be going through a little bit of a dead arm period right now. And that is something almost to be expected given the lack of innings that he has thrown throughout the course of his major league career, last year being primarily a relief pitcher, making a couple of spot starts in there. So we knew there was going to be a little bit of a ramp up period here. And it looks like right now we might be getting close to one of those dead arm periods here from Michael Kopech. But he went out there and he was able to battle. And I think that's an important sign for him in his development. You know, Steve Stone talks about this all the time, that as a starting pitcher, a lot of times you're going to go out there in a 10-start stretch, you're going to have your best stuff, maybe 2 or 3 times. You're going to have 2 or 3 times where you have absolutely nothing. And then that remainder, which really is kind of what we saw from Michael Kopech tonight, you're just going to have to battle and you're going to have to grind and you're going to have to find a way to get some outs. So to your point right there, he did do, I think, a pretty solid job of keeping this team in the game, finding a groove in the middle innings here, and ultimately giving this team an opportunity to come back, which they were unable to do.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Steve, and this has been kind of a story for White Sox pitching in general, is whenever they give up runs early, whether it's 1 or 2 runs in those first couple innings, it's magnified because of the inconsistency with the offense, right? Like, we know as a fan base that this team struggles to score runs. Yeah, maybe once a week they'll go, hey, all of a sudden there's an 8 spot or an 11 spot, and then you get 1 the next day. But everything's magnified when you're not hitting the ball or you're not scoring runs. Giving up 1 or 2 runs, you leave no room for error. So that puts a lot of pressure on the pitching staff to where you give up 2 runs in the first inning against Shohei Ohtani, and we're all going, well, ball game, it's over. Right? Because we know we're not scoring runs. And sure enough, look what happens.